Residents of Bello Street in Ketu, Lagos are calling on the government to intervene after demolition teams moved in unexpectedly, threatening to pull down marked buildings without prior notice. Many of the affected residents claim the process is illegal and say they were not informed or given any official documentation before the demolition began. News Central's lead correspondent Bernard Akede visited the area and now reports.
It was an unusual and tense morning here on Bello Street, Ketu. News Central arrived after receiving distress calls from residents who claim their houses were about to be demolished without warning. Several buildings had been marked for demolition, but according to the residents, no proper notice was given.
My landlord didn't say anything about demolition or receiving anything when I rented out this place. And even till now, there's still no papers that has been shown to me. Then I asked around from the bailiffs that I saw, like, what exactly is going on? They said they have an order to demolish this old line for the street. They wrote like almost this on every house on this side of the street. And before our agents got here, we already lost a bit of security, which is our fence that covers the security of the house, the store. I'm very confused, I'm tired, I've cried because I'm really not sure what's going on.
While inspecting the area, it became clear that some buildings had been marked for demolition, but the markings appeared selective, raising questions about why certain properties were targeted while others remained untouched.
At this point, selected houses like this were marked with this identification. Some has gotten their fence down, all because of these documents. This is not a new house. This belongs to my father. The land, I built the house on it, renovated. How come the Obolukosi will just decide to come out of the blue moon and say they are taking possession? Waking up overnight to now say he wants to take possession. Look at the house beside. The house is not included. The next house is not included. This house is not included. Why is it that selected house is being included?
Many affected residents, some whom had lived in the area for decades, are now calling on the Lagos state government to intervene before they lose their homes entirely.
Mo ti wà mí báyìí láti 88 ọkọ mi ti kú tí mo ti forí fa gbogbo wàhálà ẹ̀ tí mo wà nínú omi nínú ìdààmú pákó ni máa tó sílẹ̀ fi roko ń bí báyìí tọ́lọ́run fi ń bá mi tún bí báyìí ṣe tó di láàárọ̀ ìṣàlẹ̀ nìkan wá ń gbálẹ̀kùn gbàgbàgbàgbàgbà ìgbà tó ní wọ́n fẹ́ túnlẹ̀ yìí ta o àkíjọba dìde kó ràn mí lọ́wọ́ o torí mi ìlẹ́nì kankan àfọlọ́hun.
However, a man who claimed to be the son of the Onikosi, the traditional ruler of the area, spoke off camera. He alleged that landlords had been notified about the demolition plans and invited for discussions, but failed to attend. The situation remains unclear, with conflicting accounts from residents and local authorities. News Central will continue to seek responses from government officials to understand why these demolitions are taking place and whether due process was followed. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
And to bring us more on this story is the man himself, our lead correspondent here at News Central, Bernard Akede. Good morning, Bernard.
Welcome to Breakfast Central.
It's not pleasant times. You know, it's a sad story to be reporting. I think the story that broke my heart the most from the report you did was the mother who's been there since 88, and her husband, the widow, yes, she's been there since 88. Her husband had passed, and this is not the first time we're having this kind of conversation in Lagos. We've seen it happen time and time again, where the people would say that, you know, they were not informed about this. But give us deeper insight, maybe areas that were not showed in the package.
And a background to your covering the story.
Excuse me. Okay, so we got this distress call. Basically, somebody sent, you know, pictures of I think documents from the courts, you know, and explaining that their buildings were about to be demolished. And so we rushed there. That was on Monday. Today is day 3 of following up with the story. And indeed, it was like, you know, they woke up and saw red markings of paint, like you saw on screen there, on their fences. And there were some young men, these boys who have sledgehammers, who are being hired to demolish or break down, you know, stuff. And that was just it, you know, and then there were numbers of police officers in trucks, and even a truck that looked like a Black Maria or something like that. And they said, well, some people were trying to record what was going on. They were forcefully pushed into the Black Maria, being stopped from recording. So the long and short of the whole story is that they said the traditional ruler, that's I think is the Onikosi of Ikosi land, that's in Ketu area, came up with a document and saying that these people did not have proper documentation to stay in that area. Probably they bought the land, but it wasn't legit, you know, or something of that sort.
Yeah, but that's not the responsibility of the
traditional ruler. Exactly. Yes. But then here they're saying that because the traditional ruler and the family were the ones who sold that land, so they're coming back to reclaim. Now, two things. Yesterday, gist that filtered to us from around the area had it, and this is unconfirmed anyway, that the initial person who sold the land may have been the brother of the ruler who had passed, and now the ruler is trying to get back the land. Like that lady said in Yoruba, trying to reclaim the land. We've made efforts to speak to the traditional ruler. I spoke to his son yesterday, and he said they would like us to come and speak to the Oba. So I agreed. I said, yes, why not? That's what we want. To hear both sides. But apparently he said, not today. That was yesterday, not today. That they will let us know when they will come. So we've only been able to hear from the residents who actually have been crying out. As of this morning, I got a message saying that the excavators are still there. Yesterday, an excavator was there. Excavator is still there. That when the excavator stopped working yesterday, people now manually were taking out people's roofs.
What?
You know.
That's terrible. And you mentioned something about law enforcement. The law enforcement was there. There was a Black Maria stationed just to... Do you think they're there to implement any court order? And has there been any official response? Because this it's a sitting time bomb. Things could go wrong and it could lead to a serious breakdown in law and order. Exactly. Has the government issued a statement? Have they made any comments on what is going on in Ikosi?
No, there's not been any statement by the government. We haven't gotten any statement. There were some bailiffs from the court who were there on Monday when we got there. We couldn't speak to any of them. You know the way it is with law enforcement. They'll direct you to a certain person or people of higher authority. You know, same thing with the police who were there. They didn't speak to us. As of yesterday, though, something funny happened. So while we were recording live, I think the most senior police officer who was there was trying to stop us from recording. You know, I tried to explain to him, look, constitutionally, there is nothing that's... Exactly, we're doing our job. You know, and then kept going back and forth, and then somebody from the royal family, I believe he was also complaining, why are we here? He said they stopped people from recording. He's been told that nobody should record, and I was trying to educate the police officer. You cannot say you've been told that nobody should record. I am, with all due respect, you know, I am a journalist, and we're here. If people complain that they are aggrieved, you know, their buildings have been taken down for reasons that they feel is not justified or are not justified, they have a right to call the press, and we have the right to record and to publish or publicize what's going on there. But of course, in places like that, I've learned out of experience, and like the policeman did say to me in local lingua, he said, "Oga, you are not from here, I'm not from here. You are here to do your job, I'm here to do my job. Let's do it peacefully and go." And when it begins to get to statements like that, you know that your security is not assured. You know, so we did the best we could. We had gone live already, and I told the crew, you know what we have is enough. Let's pack up and go. We can build our story from here. But the good thing is, one of the residents who had been reaching out to me this morning said they've been able to reach out to some members of the Lagos State House of Assembly and some other officials in Lagos State, and they're hoping that those people will come and they'll be able to discuss and have things clear. Again, it's because we've not been able to get the other side of the story. But still, it does look very, very dicey. It
does completely look dicey. At the end of the day, when conversations like this come up, yes, it's important to hear both sides of the story, especially when there are Nigerian citizens whose rights seem to be trampled upon. You don't just wake up one day and kick people out of where
we're talking of the
shelter, their home, you know, all their lives, even though we've seen it happen in different parts. You know, how do we, I don't know, how do we forestall or ensure that we don't keep reporting stories like this, Bernard? You've had the unfortunate opportunity to report on several incidences like this. What can we do as a people? You know, I don't know if off the top of your head, do you think of any measures we can maybe put in place? They're saying that they've been inviting them to have conversations and they've not been showing up. Should the next step be to bring down the buildings? We saw this when we had the people at Mende, when the Mende estate too, but that was those who they said legally built on
on waterways,
on exactly. So it's just really concerning that we are starting to see a number of these repeat incidences here in Lagos.
Exactly. You know, unlike what we had in Mende and some of all these new rising estates on the island in Lagos, like the Daily said, these are people who have built their houses since the 80s, since the 90s.
And then the alleged person that is responsible for this enforcement is a private citizen.
Exactly, it's a private citizen. It's not a government official. You know, so to answer your question, Olive, where I was going is, we should have proper statements from the government. One. Two, I think after going to court, if you know, having that, if the court sitting court proceedings are transparent and clear, the court documents should be made public, you know, to the people and to the general public. And then I think, you know, the media has been underutilized. I
was going to say that.
The media has been underutilized. Push these things out into the media. Don't wait until the affected persons now call on the media, and then you won't feel...
breaks down.
Exactly, or law breaks down. I was going to get to that. Now, if whether the traditional rulers or whoever it is that has claimed that these lands were unlawfully built upon had gone to the media first to say, and with proper documents to say, this is what has been going on, we've invited these people so time, they haven't come, and we've gone to the court, these are the papers from the court, and we want the whole world to see that so time, so date, if these people don't respond to what we're saying, these are the issues that will happen, these are the judgment, these are the activities that will meted out upon them, then it's in public eye, I beg your pardon, everybody can see, you know. And then, you know, you were talking about breakdown of law and order. The gentleman I spoke to said the same thing. Let's not wait until people now want to defend their properties. People have built houses there for years, you know, and then you want to bring it down. They have to defend what they've built and what they've worked for. Then your own people come and fight our own people, and then it turns into communal violence, like you said, and that's when they now start packing people into black marias and taking them away, and the story would entirely turn around. You know, we would have lost plot of how it all started. The only thing we'll see now is communal violence. This group of people are fighting that group of people, and they're taking them to jail. Unfortunately, people will get hurt if nothing is done properly.
Right.
But I'm sure we'll try and reach the Commissioner of Environment today to hear, or a Lagos State official to
and I think also that you know, you should reach back to your contacts. Let's get to hear from the Oba.
Yes,
you know, to know what the true position is. But thank you for covering the stories and for being the voice of the people. We certainly want the best for Nigerians. No Nigerian deserves to have their home taken away from them all of a sudden, overnight, home that they've lived in years.